to the Cathedral of Shadows, where demons gather.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cathedral of Shadows, a Megami Tensei Podcast. I'm Rasen.
I'm Katsu.
And we haven't podcasted in about a month, just taking a
I know,
relaxing
life has
break.
been really a thing.
Yeah, life happens.
Yeah.
Fuck. So yeah, man, remember last year when we were doing this shit, pumping one out every
I
weekend?
know, right? That's because we had no school.
Like,
I didn't have a job.
well, I had school and shit. It's just that like I had nothing to do on my Saturdays, so yeah,
Yeah.
now I do. Man, thanks, responsibilities, but
I know, I hate adult responsibilities. I just want to sit in front of my TV and play video games all day.
and podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, probably not gonna go back to weekly shows for a while, if not maybe ever, especially because I'm starting an internship in not too long too. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably not monthly, probably a little more often than that, hopefully, but you never know. We basically do these when we feel like it and
Yeah.
when we have the time. So yeah, but that being said, we have a lot of stuff to talk about since we've been gone. So, well, actually, first thing I want to say is thank you, friend of the show Johnson, from Twitter, because he hooked me up with a Monster Hunter 4 demo code. And not gonna lie, I tried out Monster Hunter Try once and didn't really care for it, but holy shit, Monster Hunter 4 is fun. I'd get it, but I think like I'm already
Yeah,
getting Majora's Mask that day, and like I have other stuff I need to spend money towards, like Valentine's Day crap.
I think the only 3DS game I'm going to get is well, I'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the only one I'm going to be able to afford.
Rip. Um,
I have other things I need to get.
but yeah, really nice of you to hook me up with a code, and I really enjoyed it. Monster Hunter 4 is pretty fun. I'll probably get it when it goes down in price at some point. But this isn't a Monster Hunter podcast, at least not yet. So, transitioning on, around Christmas, a little bit before or after, I can't remember. Whenever that last Lucifer video I uploaded uh, happened, that's when I did it. Yeah, I beat Megami Tensei 1, at least the Kyoyaku version of it, and pretty good game.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay!
It was an interesting experience going back through that. I really enjoyed it, and like it gets tedious at parts, and then like it's tedious but enjoyable, like that kind of thing with the dungeon crawling where you're always kind of on edge, but you're having a good time. And then the last two areas happen, and it's like, so I don't think I'll ever really replay it, or maybe not for a while at least. But I think it's worth a look at, and spend an hour or so with it if you're listening to this, because fuck, it's a pretty fun experience, and it's just interesting seeing where Mega 10 came from and what elements are there already at the
Yeah.
start and what wasn't. It's also really funny seeing the very very basic negotiation stuff in there. Like it's like give me money, and it's like persuade, and it's like the demon doesn't really care yet. It's like give you more money, and it's like okay. It's basically it's like the most bare bones negotiation I've ever seen out of Mega 10. Like that and Nocturne, it's very basic negotiation. Nocturne's negotiation was kind of weird like that though, because you had all those negotiation skills that no one ever used because they kind of wasted one of the 8 slots for demons and shit. Did you ever use those?
No, not really.
Yeah, I didn't either. But yeah, also, are you aware of that Digital Devil Story OVA? That
Yeah, what about it?
I watched that too because I figured why the hell not? And
Yeah, why not? So, was it bad or was it bad?
it was bad and the latter bad, where it's bad in the sort of like, wow, this was a really shitty low budget 80s thing that they pumped out. Also, the only English subs of that movie that you can find online, apparently in the UK it did get like an official like sub and put out onto a DVD in some form or another, but like you can't find that online at all. So the only subs that exist are these really, really shitty like old school subs. Like I swear this must be early internet like subs because it does the thing where instead of just like having subtitles with like a highlight or like like an outline around the text so that it doesn't blend in, they just had black rectangles and then and then the text. So like it looks like the text is just highlighted in black so it doesn't blend in, and I'm like, wow, that is the most old school method of doing this. And also there's a point where Loki shows up and they call him Rocky because they didn't translate
Rocky,
that right.
not
Yes.
bad.
So like I was just imagining Rocky Balboa just going and fucking up everyone's day the entire time I was
Freaking
watching it.
Stallone.
Yeah, I'm like, how did they get Rocky out of that? Well, like I know because of the LR thing, but
Yeah.
and they spelled it Rocky as in Rocky Balboa too. It wasn't just ROKI. It was straight up there like Rocky.
It ain't Rocky.
It was interesting. It's pretty bad. Also, they hint at like a sequel because it's only the first adaptation of the three books.
Hmm.
Well, it's the only it's an adaptation of the first installment of the three books rather, and they
Yeah.
hint at a sequel in the end, and that never came out, and I'm pretty sure I
Because
know
it
why.
sold like, yeah, because OVA probably sold like shit.
Yeah, it's pretty
And they were
bad.
just like, these sales aren't gonna, yeah.
And if you haven't read the book, it makes no sense at all what the hell's going on because they don't explain anything. Like, there's a point where he just literally wakes up in a forest and he's like, "Go to Izanami's tomb," and he's like, "Okay,
Okay.
yeah." Nakajima's the funny guy. Um, yeah, it was just weird. Also, the ending song has the best English title of any song I've heard ever, and it's called "Lady Your Eyes."
Yo, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's a really generic '80s J-pop song. Um, it's actually not even that good. It's really just dumb. So yeah, I watched that, and I've had enough of Megaten 1 for a while. So man, I still have to wonder though how such a great game series came from something that's really kind of poop. Uh,
It's kind of. You gotta give credit to Atlus, who actually somehow made it work.
Yeah, because I have a theory where like it really seems like they liked the ideas that were in that original book because I've read the original book too, and I partially want to blame it on the translation because it was like unofficial and shit, but that book really isn't even that good. It's pretty schlocky, I guess. It's really dumb. Um, Not to mention the main character is the most unsympathetic asshole. It's like I don't fucking care what he does because
Yeah.
he's kind of a piece of shit human being, and like they don't do a thing where it's like he redeems himself. Like there's a point where he's like, I'm not okay with summoning demons anymore, and he decides to fix everything. But they don't really ever say like he learned a lesson from it. It's just like, I just decide I'm not okay with this anymore, and he just starts
Yeah.
fighting the demons, and it's just like it doesn't feel coherent, and it's just poorly written all around. But yeah, like man, I can't believe Mega 10 came from that.
That,
It grew way beyond those books.
which is a good thing.
Yeah. Um, I like I
Became a series in on its own.
oh definitely, and like I honestly can't even recommend those books to people other like than like hardcore Mega 10 fans that are like, oh, really interested in seeing where all this stuff came from and all that. But even then, it's like, wow, this is really underwhelming. So there's that. But I guess we can stop talking about what I've been playing and experiencing and all that, and get into some of the new stuff. So,
Yes.
first thing that we're going to talk about is just some Japan news, and apparently Soul Hackers is being reprinted under a
Atlas the best or something like that.
yeah, it's
It's kind of like PlayStation's greatest hits for those who don't know.
yes, that's exactly what I was going to compare it to. Like if you remember, I don't think they do it. Do they still do
Yeah,
that?
they still do it.
Okay, yeah. So basically, they're just reprinting it, and then it has a little logo on it that says Atlus the best, and it's cheaper. So
Yeah.
it's pretty much just a reprint. And apparently, Atlus hasn't done this since the DS. So this is actually the first game in a while to get a the best reprint. Uh,
Not even like. Yeah, so some of the Persona stuff hasn't even gotten Atlas the best, has it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I think there was some game on PSP, and that was the last one that they did. So yeah, apparently though they said they also plan on having the best titles for their 3DS games. So maybe Etrian Odyssey, possibly SMT4 and Devil
Yeah.
Survivor, who knows? Probably not a thing you're going to see much of over here. Partially
Because companies don't really do that over here. The it's usually the ones who make the consoles that reprint the games with the labels on them.
yeah.
Microsoft does it with some of their games, and Sony pretty much does it with all their games. They eventually get a PlayStation's Greatest Hits.
Yeah, and just not only that, but like there's an eShop sale every other day,
Yeah.
like with Atlas stuff. If you ever want to buy an SMT or Etrian Odyssey game digitally,
Just
don't
wait until Atlas
wait at least
tweets
a month
something.
because
Yeah.
because if you buy them full price, you're getting ripped off because
Atlas is just going to announce a sale the next day, and you're going to be really
yeah,
upset.
they always go on sale. And not only that, like they're not too hard to find physically if you shop online, like maybe in stores, but if you go on like Amazon or something, you can easily find the 3DS games for Atlas stuff. So that was that. I guess the next thing to talk about is it isn't really SMT news, but I guess we'll get into it anyways. So a new Fire Emblem got announced, and immediately,
Yes.
yeah, Fire Emblem
Fire Emblem
If,
If is the Japanese title.
yes. Oh, but Katsu, you know what else has an if in the title?
Shin Megami Tensei If?
Oh yeah, and you know what that means? Absolutely nothing, because
Yeah.
people are reading way too much into that. So
The thing about Fire Emblem If is a lot of the Fire Emblem fans do not understand what the if means. They just think it's
yeah,
Japan being Japan, even though, judging from SMT If, is probably something super deep and meaningful.
uh, so from what I understand, the I don't know the director, one of the writers, someone involved with Fire Emblem If, or just
Yeah,
that
is
team.
a I think he's done manga. I think he's done movies. He's written for manga and movies. This is his first ever game that
Yeah,
he's written for.
yeah, and apparently what he said was that this Fire Emblem, like a key component to the plot, is going to be your choices, and your
Yeah,
choices are going to be more important than
have
ever.
weight. Yeah, they're actually gonna have weight, which is something I really, really, really love because a lot of JRPGs haven't had that. They just
Yeah.
had the illusion of choice. Like even in Tales of Exilia 2, the only time when your choices matter was like at that moment where you decided an ending. No, like your choices didn't really have any large impact aside from like minor changes in cutscenes and affection increases.
And you know, it's kind of weird too, because Fire Emblem seems like it'd be more prone to that. Because a large part of
Yeah,
it too is it's like, well, someone just died. Do you suck it up and go through the rest of the game without him, or do you reload your save type of like? That seems like
yeah.
it could work narratively with Fire Emblem. Actually,
Eh,
not only that, I think it's kind of funny because just a few days before this happened, I'm like, you know, I really feel like playing Sacred Stones again because I haven't played that game since I was a dumb kid, and like, I feel like getting more into Fire Emblem now that I'm an adult, and I kind of want to buy Awakening, but it's like, fuck, that game is still $40 thanks Nintendo. First party
yeah.
prices are terrible. Um,
And also, Fire Emblem If's coming out soon, and there probably won't even be any like connectivity between that and Awakening. So you might as well just wait until If.
yeah, I feel like that's going to be like a at the end of 2015 type thing.
Yeah.
So
So you'll
like.
have plenty of time to like play through all the other Fire Emblem games, and maybe have time to squeeze in Awakening before If.
Because I've beaten Sacred Stones 7 and the Super Nintendo one. I think it's Mystery of the. I don't
No,
remember.
it's Genealogy of Holy War.
Thank you for remembering which ones I beat. Yeah, I beat Genealogy 7 and Sacred Stones, and
I've beaten all the GBA ones. Path of Radiance, I think I beat Radiant Dawn. I'm not sure. And I've beaten New Mystery of the Emblem for the DS. That one's really good. Everyone should play it.
Yeah, so my thing with that is like just I haven't played Fire Emblem since I was a kid. I'm like I want to get more into these now that I'm smarter and more mature. So I'm gonna replay Sacred Stones because I have that on 3DS because of the Ambassador program thing, and then I think I'll just go from there. I also I have Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance because I never realized how easy Dolphin runs on. Like for some reason, I always just assumed GameCube and Wii emulation was harder than PS2 emulation.
GameCube and Wii emulation is pretty easy.
It's
I could run Xenoblade Chronicles in 60 FPS.
I could run Twin Snakes like perfectly, and I was like, oh,
I was like,
yeah.
okay.
Well, I guess I have no reason to ever use my Wii ever again. So yeah,
It's like, oh
yeah.
yeah, I'm probably just never gonna buy a GameCube or a Wii ever again.
Um, so yeah, I plan on getting more into that. But anyways, people have been freaking out because it's like, oh no, they announced Project, or is it Project or Codename Steam? I always forget.
Codename Steam.
Codename. So they announced Codename Steam, and everyone's like, oh god, that's bad. Like they announced SMT Cross Fire Emblem. We assumed they were going to work on that, and then
And then they said that they're working on the game. It's coming along well. He's not allowed to talk about it or else he'll lose his job.
yeah, and then this comes out, and now it's like,
And,
okay, this is the
and the
second
game's
game.
in limbo. What is in? It's probably not even at this point. I don't even think Intelligent Systems is working on it like all the way. They're probably like half and half with Atlus.
I I'm under the impression it's like, okay, Fire Emblem was like in its deathbed when Awakening came out,
Yeah.
and Awakening introduced the waifu pandering stuff that made it super successful. Well, not even that, just that it streamlined everything and
It streamlined everything and did things that a lot of people liked and flocked to the series. Like this is the first Fire Emblem game that sold over 1 million copies in like since over 10 years. No, not that long. Since Fire Emblem 7, whenever that came out.
might have been. I think that was like 2003.
Yeah, so nearly 10 years. That was the
Which is
second
nuts.
Fire Emblem game to sell over 1 million. Even Fire Emblem New Mystery of the Emblem sold like shit. Cause
So
like nobody really wanted to play Fire Emblem in Japan. Everybody was like, eh.
and the waifu stuff is a little bit part of that. I'm
Yeah,
fascinated to know the Massive Feel stuff.
Japan loves their characters, so
Yeah. So I feel like part of it is just like let's pump out another one just to get the series completely back on track. Like it already is, but it's like there's no harm in doing another one with the same team, because If
yeah.
is mostly the same team as the Awakening guys, which
Yeah, with a different story, with a different writer for the story. That's the only
yeah.
thing that's different. I think the composer's the same. Yeah, they're using the same assets too, except for the character models because the character models have feet in a Fire Emblem. If that's the biggest thing.
The artist is the same dude too, the No More Heroes guy.
Yeah.
I really like his character
I like his
designs.
art, even though the fan base doesn't. Everyone hates his. Like the majority of the fan base hates his art style, which I don't understand why. Which will make it even funnier if Kaneko does the art for SMT Cross Fire Emblem.
I doubt it, but that would be cool.
That would be super awesome. I'd be like, yes, Kaneko's still alive.
Um, so what I think this means, because a lot of people are like SMT Cross Fire Emblem is dead. I think that's way too early to call
Yeah,
it.
it's way too early to tell. They're still making it. I think it's still in
pretty sure.
development. It's just that it, especially since it's a console game, they're probably
For
is
not very popular console to boot.
yeah for a not very popular console and for a company that hasn't made a console game, that hasn't made a good looking console game ever. Because let's face it, SMT Cross Fire Emblem is going to be in high definition. Strong chance it's going to be at 60 FPS. This is coming from two companies that have not done a 60 FPS game for one, and Intelligent System has never done an HD game. So they're probably running into some engine snags or whatever.
I have a feeling that it just really was a case of Nintendo forcing them to announce something. Because if you look at that trailer,
Yeah,
it is bootlegs
there's
to
nothing
high
in
hell
that
and back.
trailer. Nintendo probably forced them to announce it because there's no JRPGs coming out.
The
on
only
the-
original asset in that trailer is the logo.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. Like I feel like Nintendo is like we need to show our audience that we have JRPGs on this thing, so announce
So
something.
announce that crossover. You guys haven't even finished doing the base assets for yet.
Yeah. So honest.
Also, there's probably Fire Emblem if characters are probably going to be in the SMT Cross Fire Emblem. Chances are it's like really high right now. They're going to be in there.
Let's see. So on. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. My honest opinion is I think if we see SMT Cross Fire Emblem, earliest possible release date, like just in Japan, fall 2016.
Yeah, we're going to see Final Fantasy 15 before SMT Cross
Probably.
Fire Emblem.
Um,
That's the reality.
well, have you seen that image floated around on Twitter where it's a Tumblr post and someone's like, "What's your favorite mythological creature?" and someone responded, Fire Emblem Crush and Megami Tensei.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was that. That made me laugh. But yeah, I like that game is pretty far out, honestly, and I don't think it's canned. I know a lot of people are saying it, but I don't
No,
think
it's
so.
not canon. It's just a little thing that they're doing between two niche companies. They're just like, hey, let's just do something and bring our fans together. And they're like, all right.
Yeah, I really just think it's like it was announced way too early, and everyone's freaking out as a result
Yeah.
because we have no news on it. So it seems like
Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced way too early, and we saw something of that game. And
Yeah.
we're seeing stuff of that game even now. We haven't seen shit for SMT Crossfire Emblem since this announcement.
On the subreddit, John Harden pointed out a funny thing. Like he joined Atlus USA around the same time that was announced,
Yeah.
which is pretty funny. Like around like just putting it into that time frame, it's like, oh god, that seems like forever ago at this point.
It came out when was it announced? 2013?
I want to say E3 2013.
Yeah. It was at a Nintendo Direct in 2013. Yeah, January 2013, I believe. It's been 2 years.
It's been nuts. So I guess that's all I need to talk about in regard to SMT Cross Fire Emblem, which is still nothing. Um, I love how literally zero new information about that has pretty well not literally, but pretty much zero information about that game has come out since we started this podcast.
Yeah. Wow.
It's
That's
true.
actually pretty nuts.
Like you would think like we'd get something other than no, it's we're working on it and it's doing good. That's literally been the only piece of news since episode 1. Fuck.
Yeah, I think we opened our episode with SMT Crossfire Emblem. Opened the podcast.
Oh god.
I want to say that we did.
Something. I don't remember. It's been too long.
Yeah.
Moving on, I guess. So this is more your thing than mine, but from what I understand, this is the last Ultimax patch that we are getting. It's Ultimax version 2.0.
Yeah, Ultimax 2.0. There have been a lot of changes to characters. Well, I'll get to that later, but first, like the aesthetics and system changes. The UI is different. They touched it up a bit. And system changes are like shadows now have a burst. They change HP values. They increase their attack power. They increase their SP gain, and they can no longer carry SP between rounds.
So what you're saying is shadows are actually useful now.
Shadows are pretty much they're pretty much BlazBlue characters with the overdrive meter. That's pretty much what they are. If you ever play BlazBlue Chrono Phantasm or Phantasma, whatever the hell it's called, that's pretty much what they are. They're pretty much the BlazBlue characters with the overdrive meter, and yeah. Shadow Berserk, yeah, that's pretty much how it works. S-Hold is completely gone for two-player. Any and all two-player modes, it is gone. And it's only usable in single-player.
That change really confused me, because I'm like, like, sure, in tournament shit and all that, it's like, why...
In tournaments, it's really busted, because Narukami just gets so much free damage off S-Hold, it's ridiculous.
Oh, was that the reason? I actually did not know that.
For all this,
okay.
A lot of characters got free damage thanks to S-Hold. It was really stupid.
Okay, because what I was...
One of the major system changes is, like, character damage has been lowered across the board. Everyone does less damage now.
So I was under the false assumption that that was gone just because, like, I just assumed it was gone because no one used it. Because, like, I remember it's like, you can kind of fake out someone with S-Hold, but even that, I'm like, that sounds really cheesy and sounds like it doesn't work like the
It's
second.
it was essential for character combos because that's how they maximize their damage with S hold. Like
Oh,
Narukami does like 7k ridiculous stuff thanks to S hold. Akihiko can like S hold for about like 5k if he doesn't have any tornado gauges up. It's it was really stupid and now it's gone for
because
the
I
most part.
I assumed they were just gonna keep that in there for like, because it was originally it wasn't even really designed as like a tournament like
Yeah,
level
it wasn't
thing.
designed as a tournament thing, but people found a way and they had to adjust it.
Yeah, because
That's why it's still in the game, just for like single player modes only.
yeah, because I was like, I don't get why they don't just leave that in. Because like, if two Persona fans that really don't know how the fuck to play fighting games want to dick around, it's like Essold's kind of nice for them. But yeah,
Yeah,
if it's actually affecting competitive play in a negative way, yeah, just take it completely out because it shouldn't.
yeah.
That shouldn't be in there. Um, anyways, carry on.
Auto combo. The third part no longer provides a bonus. The fourth hit skill attack provides the bonus instead.
Now, from what I
So
understand, the importance of that is after the fourth hit, you can't really do anything other than
yeah, you
finish the
can't do
combo.
anything. Yeah, you can't do
Yeah,
anything. Pretty
that's a
much,
pretty good
yeah,
change.
that's a good change because once again, people were getting free damage off auto combos because the 50-meter bonus is like, hey, more free damage. And once again, it's the usual suspects getting free damage, aka Narukami. That guy got too much free damage thanks to the system. Anyway, all out attack, on air hit is now air techable. You can tech him now. Increase pushback when blocked, but not in the corner. The follow up can be performed by holding a button. So seems like you don't have to mash them anymore. I don't know. I don't
That's what
really.
I heard. I heard you don't need to mash anymore.
Yeah. You can mash out of freeze now, which is something they should have done at the very beginning since Arena. I don't know why they did it with the stick. That was really stupid. Because Blaze Blue changed to mash and continuum shift back in like 2010. So yeah. So ground throws can be canceled into supers now, which means some characters are gonna get major damage boosts, but not really because of the damage nerf across the entire board. But yeah, certain characters have like way more options now. Anyway, bad statuses show a message now, so now you know what bad status you got. If you got rage, it'll show up. If you got like shocked, it'll show up. So no more. What did I just get hit with? I don't know. Like why am I raged? I don't get it. Now we'll see. Confuse. You can block by holding directional inputs in either directions. I don't really directional inputs in either direction. So that means people with hitboxes are just gonna be untouchable during Confuse. Confuse is kind of useless now.
Oh, that's weird.
So Persona Break, they changed the location of the indicator to better indicate whose persona was broken. Because it used to be like in the center, it would say persona broken.
And it was like, who the fuck got? Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
now
had
they
that
switched
happen a
that.
couple times because it's like, also especially if like you ever do the thing where you both summon your persona and they both like break each other, like it just
Yeah.
trades. Yeah, it's like who the fuck got broken then, you know? Like, yeah.
So it's a lot easier to see now. Once I said before, damage has been lowered across the board. They increase proration. SP skills do way less damage now. Reversal burst. You can no longer like burst someone's burst. And one more burst, it won't push you away from the corner. I know that was really annoying for certain characters because whenever you one more burst, it push you out of the corner, then you'd be out of range for your follow up, and it would just be so annoying. You have to make it precise. Now you can be a little more free, not in a good way, with your one more burst.
Nice.
Uh, SP skills change to that. The SP change to use this SP the moment it comes out. I never really noticed that. Player one and player two now have fixed colors, so that's a thing.
Huh.
Oh, and character select. It remembers what type of character you used last, so you don't have to like repick your character over and over again. That was a problem with me for net play. I get stuck like picking Yukiko sometimes because I'd be trying to mash Adachi. So that's
That's that's nice.
they changed courses for score attack and
Oh,
They added a new course for Golden Arena mode. Ooh, and added new skills.
I still have not touched Golden Arena ever. I should
And
do
now
that.
the ranking system is individual to each character now. I hope that carries over into the console version because that was really annoying. When you're trying to do rank stuff with a different character, it didn't carry over, so it's like you have to fight high ranking characters with a character you don't really play that much because
Yeah.
it was tied to your account and not your character. So now they fixed it. It's all gravy now.
And is that it for the changes, pretty much? Like, for
That's
the
it for
system
the
stuff?
system changes. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of individual character changes, but I'm not gonna go over that. All you need to know
Yeah.
is that Yosuke is not a character anymore. He's really garbage. Uh, Narukami and Margaret got even better. Minazuki's still the same.
He got
Adachi,
nerfed a little, and the
yeah.
only thing I noticed that I'm like, fuck, I'm kind of salty about that. Well, actually, two things. Apparently, he's easier to counter hit now, and I'm like, damn it, I can't just roll my.
Adachi's even more of a scumbag now. He has like he has like cancels for days. He's
The,
probably gonna play like a different character now. It's gonna
the
be weird.
the thing with Minazuki, fucking, I noticed two things. One, apparently you can counter hit him easier, so I'm like, fuck, I can't just mash my face on the controller and win anymore. And the second thing is that his 2B apparently isn't just a giant fuck you button now, so.
Yeah,
My game plan needs to actually not rely on scumbag tactics now, damn it.
Adachi's even more of a scumbag now, so I can just do whatever.
Oh, you. Um,
uh, Other changes. I think Labrys is a character now. That's a thing.
that's good.
Naoto is probably going to be top tier now because of the damage nerf that everyone got. Because Naoto has like no health, so
Oh
she's
yeah.
actually going to be a threat now.
So.
I think people are already saying in the arcades that Naoto's really good.
Oh, okay. This hasn't hit the Japanese consoles yet, has it?
No, it's just Japanese arcades.
Yeah, and
It's
then
either going to come in an update. I pray that it comes in an update. Arc System Works is a really scumbaggy company. People need to understand this because there was a game called Blaze Blue Continuum Shift Extend, a separate game that only included one character, and it was $40, and it was $70 in Japan. If you imported that, that was $70.
probably more with like the shipping
Yeah,
and shit.
with taxes
Um,
and shipping. Yeah, that was like $80 to $90 depending on how quick you made the shipping. So you were pretty much gouged out. You paid just to have your character nerfed, and one
I
it was literally one character, and the DLC characters are like automatically in the game. So like even if you bought the DLC from Continuous Shift, it didn't matter
I have a
because
feeling this will just be a patch. Like
yeah,
I
I have
have
a
a
feeling it'll be a patch.
I really doubt because like I don't know. I really doubt that they would just shove out a new disc for this. Because like they didn't.
They might just for more money.
But like I can see them like if they put another character in, for example, being like, oh, that's the excuse, put a new version.
If
But
they put like I feel like if they add a new character, it'll just be Theo, but they haven't said anything about new characters. So it's just a balance change.
yeah, it was just a balance. Well, it's out in Japanese arcades, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah. So no, they didn't add any characters or anything. So yeah, I really think this is just going to be a patch. Um, I don't see any other reason to think otherwise right now, at least. So there's that. Well, I guess that's the Ultimax news that we have, but I guess we should move on to other Persona news, unless there's anything else you got to say about the patch,
Um, all in
update,
all, the
whatever.
patch seems like it's gonna be pretty fun when it drops.
It seems like it.
Except for Yosuke players, RIP Yosuke players. You guys are. Oh yeah, Junpei is a character now. Can you believe it? He's
Yeah.
good.
Um.
But yeah, let's move on to Persona stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So some Persona 3 movie news. So the second movie, Midsummer Night's Dream, uh, is having a home release of March 11th, which means that the subtitled version probably going to drop not too far away from that
Yeah, it'll
online
probably drop
or
like
for
a few
import.
days after.
Yeah.
Or if someone can afford Aniplex's ridiculous prices, it'll come out even sooner.
Were they the one that was doing the thing that's I don't remember what it was even that's like $400 for the
Yeah,
box set?
For Fate Stay Night, $400. Face Day Night Unlimited Blade Works, $400 for that.
That is a PS4. That
Yeah,
is actually...
that's a PS4 and some games if you get expedited shipping for like 2 days.
Jesus, that is so stupid. So I think the first one, if you imported the DVD, it was $60. So I'm assuming they'll be the same pricing. I think the Blu-ray was 80 for the first one. I don't remember. So yeah, stay tuned for that in March, specifically March 11th. And then the third Persona 3 movie, Falling Down, is coming out in Japanese theaters April 4th, and we had a little bit of a teaser with a new song that you could barely hear any of because it was like 20 seconds long. And the teaser was really stupid. It was just the is it called the Moonlight Bridge? There's a
Yeah,
name
it was
for
just a Moonlight Bridge. It was just Ryoji there.
Yeah, it was just Ryoji standing on the Moonlight Bridge being all emo and
Yeah, being edgy
and having his scarf flow in the wind. That was actually, I was actually really disappointed by that teaser.
Yeah, that wasn't a teaser. That was just a disappointment.
Ryoji is not worth an entire teaser to himself. That fucker. So yeah, that Falling Down will come out April 4th, and then given the current release schedule, it seems like we'll either get that. We'll probably be able to view that in English early 2016, probably.
Yeah.
Assume. So yeah. I think that's really it for Persona 3 movie news. I guess then moving on to other Persona stuff, we have Hashino talking a little bit about apparently the mood, yes, of Persona 5. Apparently this was from a 4Gamer article, which is like a Japanese media outlet thing for games and stuff.
Yeah.
Thus the name 4Gamer. But apparently he was talking a bit about specifically individuality and what it means to be an individual and stuff, and kind of some cryptic things that probably have to do with what we're going to see in Persona 5. Specifically, there was, I don't have it open anymore, fuck, but basically he said a quote somewhere in there, like, a large part of individuality is being an individual means that, you know, you kind of take in aspects of the people around you and the people close to you and stuff, and like a group's combined individuality, which sounds weird, but keep in mind, like, this is probably translated by, like, you know, just random other sources too. But apparently, like, a group's identity and stuff can be used to, like, combine their power and just, like, overcome some obstacle or whatever. So, like, you know, basic Persona stuff and all that. And but yeah, he had a fairly long talk about just what it means to be an individual and how you affect people around you and how others, like, affect your personality and all that. So probably some stuff we're going to see in Persona 5, and admittedly that's stuff we've kind of already seen in P3, P4, but
it seems like there's going to be a bigger emphasis on it.
Yeah, so
it seems like Persona 5 is just going to be a very meaningful game. I'm just for that alone, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
It's going to be good. You know, I've been thinking about this recently. Like, when do you think we're gonna? Because the release date now for Japan is 2015. I don't even think there is a US.
Yeah, it's still 2015 for the US.
Oh, it is too. Okay.
Yeah.
When do you think we're gonna see that? Fall, winter? My bet for
judging from the track record of Persona 4 and Persona 3, you're probably gonna see it in the fall.
I am thinking November.
Yeah.
That's what I'd gun for.
They've usually released Persona games in the fall, Atlus USA.
Yeah. Speaking of that, well, usually the reason for that too is they come out like late winter, spring, or summer, and like by the time the localization's done, they're usually late summer, fall.
Yeah.
For the translation. So yeah, that's usually how that works. But I guess with that too, we have the Night of the Phantom coming up in like a couple weeks from now. When is that? February 5th or so? Do you know that concert?
The concert?
Yeah, Night of the Phantom.
Yeah, it's next month in February. I don't know what day.
I think it's like
it's February 5th.
5th? Okay, I was right.
Yeah. It's a date with a 5.
Yeah. Oh, too spooky. 2-5? Nyarlathotep confirmed for antagonist now. I just like making fun of Persona 2 fans because I'm evil. So we'll probably I'm really thinking, like, if I had to just say gut reaction, I think we're gonna get a Japanese release date
Yeah,
that
we're
day.
probably gonna get a trailer. They're gonna show things, and then over the course of the month, they're gonna explain the trailer and then add new shit
So like
every day.
that's what the rational side of my brain is saying, but then the asshole side of my brain is like, Atlus is just fucking with us again.
They're
And
gonna show that same damn Tokyo Game Show trailer, but an extended version.
and by
2 seconds of new footage,
yes.
new anime footage.
It's just 2 seconds of the train shot longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll probably get something around then, and yeah, it seems like good stuff. I'm still pretty hyped for Persona 5 to come out, and it'll be nice playing a console Atlus RPG again, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been since Rido 2? For at least in terms of Megaten. They
Yeah.
might have done and Demon's Souls doesn't really count, who am I kidding? Because that was just published. But yeah, I'd say since Rido 2, this is the first console Atlus Megaten thing. So yeah, that'll be good fun. I'm pretty eagerly awaiting that. But I guess then to transition from console to handheld, let's talk a little bit about Break Record, specifically that stuff with the Durarara characters that we were all confused about.
You mean Record Breaker?
See, here's the thing, and actually I was going to mention this, but you brought it up before I could. So how this is going to work, because there are, just for the sake of it, and we're in that time where it's coming out in Japan, but USA still has a ways away. Whenever I say Break Record, I'm going to be talking about the Japanese version. Whenever
Okay,
I say
fine.
whenever I say Record Breaker, I'll be talking about the English version. So
Alright, anyway.
Break Record.
The Durarara DLC characters, they are going to be demons. They're not quote unquote playable. They're going to be demons. They're going to have their own set of skills, and it's going to be for like an extremely limited time.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the last time we talked about this, we were talking about how on that magazine like ad for it, I think it was Famitsu, they had the words limited like on the ad, and we were all like, what the hell does that mean? Like, are they like bosses? Are they special in some way? Apparently limited means limited time, because fuck, you have until like the second week of February, I think. Like they all each have different time spans you can download them from, but they are very limited. Like after the second week of February, it seems like they're I don't think you can download them after. They'll probably do a thing where I'm assuming they'll do a thing like, after like God knows how long, they'll just put them all up. But if you want them, you pretty much need to buy the game day one, and then, or at least like week one or so, and get them then. So, well, I guess speaking of that, Break Record comes out in less than 2 weeks. Comes out on the 29th. So
yes,
I am going to be dodging spoilers for that like a motherfucker, because man, even though I don't usually mind spoilers, I do for that game. So who knows with that? But also, apparently the Durarara characters are really OP too. So what are you gonna?
Yeah, and we're not gonna get them, so don't even start.
Yeah. So John Harden said that on Twitter, and we talked about it. But even then, he's clarified on the subreddit too. Like, no, we probably aren't going to get these. Like,
Mostly because it's a licensed series. It's licensed by, of all the companies to be licensed by, it's licensed by Aniplex, and they're greedy bastards. If you haven't already figured that out.
So my thing with that is, at least they're not in the actual game, because I imagine that would be a pain in the ass on Atlus USA's part to
they have to code them out.
Yeah,
or they
like
will
lock them out or something.
They have to code. They would literally have to code them out, or else they would face a penalty. They would have to like answer to Aniplex, and they'll probably have to.
But no, they're just DLC. So.
Yeah, they're just DLC.
I actually don't know if they're free or paid. Like
they're probably free.
That'd be really shitty if it was paid DLC and had a time limit. That wouldn't be cool. But yeah. Oh, also not only that, but it is in fact the reason for the Durarara characters are because Durarara season 2 just started up. I think last Friday.
Yeah, it just started up.
It started the same time as JoJo's started back up again.
That's all you need to know.
Yep. So that's the reason for the crossover thingy they have going on there. But yeah, we're probably not going to see that in the English version, which I'm fine with because, to be completely honest, I've been avoiding the DLC personas, even just the free ones from Persona Q, because it's like I want to play the game how it was kind of intended and not with like the more useful DLC stuff, you
I
know?
bought Kaguya. I mean, I downloaded Kaguya, and that was it.
I downloaded Kaguya and what was the other free one? Orpheus Tello.
Yeah.
I downloaded those two, but I haven't used them yet. Like I was debating getting Kaguya, like fusing Kaguya, and I'm like, I don't want to. So I've been playing through it fine. I don't really need them or anything. So yeah, that's the deal with Break Record DLC. Oh, also, I guess not only that too, but speaking of break record slash record breaker, it seems like in the U.S. Record Breaker is coming with the soundtrack CD on first print copies. So just a
Yes.
very traditional Atlus thing to do with first run copies of games. So yeah, no word on what. I don't think there's any word on what the CD will have, but I'm assuming it's going to be like the Megaro stuff.
Yeah, the new songs I showed you.
By the way, remember that when you were talking about that new trailer song we were hearing?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was in fact a Megaro song because on the Japanese website they put up some
yeah,
teases of the music, and it's pretty good.
yeah.
I really like Megaro's Devil Survivor 2 work so far. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it sounded pretty baller.
Yeah, so the trailer sound
All the skeptics should go listen to it. I think they'll be very pleased.
it's high quality Megaro work, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if maybe he wasn't working on PQ really because he was working on Record
Yeah, he
Breaker,
probably was.
which would be really weird on one hand, but I'm not
On the other
complaining.
hand, he at the end of the day, he's an Atlas employee. They can make him do whatever the hell that they want him to do.
I mean, fuck, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, he's not a
Well,
solo. He's not a solo or a contracted musician. He works for Atlas. Like that's his thing. He works there.
so yeah, I guess that's been all of the news stuff we needed to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's time to transition into emails. Yay.
Yay! Yay!
Yay. So actually the first one we have comes from Based Yahweh. Good old frequent
Good
emailer.
old base Yahweh.
And actually just coming off of Record Breaker stuff, he says, I'm surprised you guys didn't talk about the $50 price tag and the fact that the game is being relocalized. And I realized we totally didn't. I don't think. We might have talked about the $50 thing. I don't think we talked about the relocalization, though. I think that I totally.
Yeah, I think we did talk about it being relocalized, and we complained that they might take it. Some of the jokes might get rewritten.
Oh, did we? Okay. Well, talking about the $50 price tag, like I feel like if it was any other game other than Devil Survivor 2, I would be like, oh, that's stupid. It's the third game in a row for Mega 10 they've done that. But it's Devil Survivor 2, so I don't care. Like
Yeah, that's like that. That's like the Atlas pre. From now on,
that's kind
yeah.
of probably going to be reality. And like I feel like it would if it would have been any other game, I'd be kind of pissed, but it's like it's Devil Survivor 2. My bias is too strong. Like I'll just accept it.
Yeah, so far it's been only the Mega 10 games that have been $50. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the other. I don't think Etrian games have been 50,
Nope.
and I know Conception 2 wasn't 50.
Nope, Etrian games have been 40. Speaking of
Yeah.
that, Mystery Dungeon comes out in April, which
Yes. It
what
comes out fairly soon. When does it come out in Japan?
I don't know. I'll look that up right now.
Like when Japan announced it, Atlas announced it because PlayAsia spilled the beans too
Well,
early.
even when that Atlas employee Nick was on S-Link FM or whatever, he was talking about how he had been working on a game that hadn't even been announced yet, and like everything was done with it. And I'm pretty sure, looking back on it, that was probably Etrian Mystery Dungeon.
Yeah.
So
They're probably coming out at around the same time.
yeah, so Etrian Mystery Dungeon is coming out in Japan in March, and then coming out a month later.
So a month later, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's really fast.
That's really fast.
That's
Um,
really good localization speed.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. So Well, it seemed like they were working on it at the tail end of last year, so that's
Yeah.
around that time they were doing it. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing with Persona 5.
yeah, like I'm really expecting that. That is probably going to be one of the faster.
One of the fastest Persona games outside of Arena and Ultimax because those are fighting games. They kind of have to be
Like
out.
if my logic behind that is if they did SMT4 if they had SMT4 out 2 months after,
Yeah.
Persona 5 is going to probably be a month to 2 months. I'd be shocked if it was 2 months even.
Yeah.
I'd say a month around. Like I would not be surprised, because it's Persona, not
Yeah,
just
that's
any
their
Persona.
moneymaker.
It's
That's their moneymaker.
it
Like
is it is the Persona. So
Sony Senpai is noticing them like really hard right now for Persona 5.
okay,
The
so
PS4 needs games.
that's another thing too. In the clearly not biased at all Sony award thing that they like award
Yeah.
thing they did, they ranked Persona 5 as the most anticipated game for 2015,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So then again,
So
that list also said Destiny was like a game of the year or some shit. So like they're wrong. Uh,
Destiny sucks.
Destiny's pretty garbage.
It's I mean, Destiny still has the potential to turn itself around because I mean, I play the granddaddy of all horrible games that turned itself around. Final Fantasy
14.
14 was a piece of shit when it launched, and it's a pretty good game now. So, if Square Enix could do it with Final Fantasy 14, Bungie can do it with Destiny. I have faith that they
I
can
played
turn Destiny
I
around.
played 2 hours of Destiny at a friend's. Actually, no, not my friend's, my cousin's. I was very disappointed. So yeah, where were we again? Oh yes, we were talking about the $50 price tag and the relocalization stuff. Yeah, the relocalization, like I trust Atlus USA enough because
Yeah,
they're
their
really good.
localization work is pretty top of the line.
But yeah, like I really hope there's a few things in there that are left. Like I'll be really sad if Rainbow gets left
Yeah.
out. I'd also be okay. Most obscure reference to anything ever. Um, Devil Survivor 2 references my favorite novel of all time. There's a point where I think it's Joe. There's a character that is like at a bookstore or something, and someone's like, how did you know I was here, to like the main character, and
Yeah.
he responds Merlin's Rainbow. This is a reference to a Stephen King book called The Dark Tower. Specifically, the it's a novel series called The Dark Tower. There's these magical crystals called Merlin's Rainbow, and specifically there's one in the fourth book called Merlin's Grapefruit. And like it's just a reference to this crystal orb from this obscure Stephen King book that happens to be my favorite book of all time. And I'm like, that is awesome. Me and maybe 4 other people in the entire world caught that reference. So I don't know who on Atlus USA's staff is also a Stephen King fan, but I'm proud of them. So yay! I really hope that line gets kept in though, because like my one of my favorite games referencing my favorite novel was pretty cool. That gave the game serious brownie points the first time I played it. But yeah, I think the relocalization will go pretty well. I wonder if they're gonna change EO's because that always seemed weird to me. So
Yeah.
who knows? But we'll see when we see more English stuff from that. Because right now we haven't really seen any of the script really. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so the next email comes from John. So he wrote out a longer thing, but he basically said, say you want to play one of the PS2 SMT games, how should someone go about obtaining it and playing it? Because on one hand, you can buy the PS3 ports, which are kind of known for having issues, but that way your money goes directly to Atlus and Sony, of course. The other option is to get the versions of the game for PS2 for a higher price, but then he says you don't get to support Atlus. So my response to this is, in
Well,
fact,
you do get to support Alice if you buy it new.
if you buy it new, and the reason you can do that is Amazon has every single SMT PS2 game for about, I think the highest they go is like 25.
Atlas even started reprinting the Raito games.
Yeah, that's how I got my copy, is because I could sure as fuck, I was not going to buy Raito 1 or 2 for like $70 because that's what they used to be, and then Atlus reprinted them, and that's how I snagged my copies of those. So
So you are supporting Atlus if you buy them new.
yeah, if you buy them new, and if you want to do that, go to Amazon. That's where I got pretty
Yes.
much. Well, let's see. I bought Persona 4. Persona 4, the Digital Devil Sagas, Rido 1 and 2, I got off of Amazon new. Nocturne I found at a pawn shop, and then Persona 3 I got from file sharing with my friend, and then later I felt guilty about getting it for free, so I bought the full thing on my own account. um, so yeah, but the PS3, like, I will say though, like even for people that don't have PS2s for whatever reason and like want to play them still, the PS3 versions aren't terrible. Like Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 are a bit iffy from what I hear. I think from what I understand, Rido 1 and 2 are completely fine. Uh, and then Persona 3 and 4 have some weird issues with, I think, just like frame rate, and then also keep multiple saves because sometimes it has the tendency to just delete save files and just.
Yeah.
It's not like the entire save screen or like all of the save slots, it'll just be like one file. So what I did when I played through P3 just to avoid that is I saved in 3 slots every time I saved and completely safe. Like I lost one save, but it's like I have the other two, so it's fine. Um, but yeah, if you want to avoid that, you can just get the PS2 versions. And like I said, you can get them new off of Amazon, and that way you are still supporting Atlus. So
Yep.
a little bit more of a cost though too with that, because I think the PS3 versions are at most $10, and the PS2 versions I think mostly
They're like
like
30, 40.
No, the PS2 versions on Amazon new are like 15 to 25.
Oh.
They're pretty cheap now, so usually hovering around 20. So yeah, there you go. Next one we have comes from Gonzalo, and he asks, well, first of all, he says he hopes we're doing well, and thank you. But he wants to know uh, how we feel about side activities in RPGs that aren't combat related or don't advance the main plot, such as social links in Persona 3 and 4, or the Pokemon contest in Pokemon, and do they help us get hooked into games?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think they do, but I think they do, but it's a pretty subjective thing. It depends on what you consider a hook for a game. Do you consider the main scenario being what hooks you into the game and the atmosphere in the world? Do you consider the side content? Because I consider all of the content that is what ultimately hooks you into a world. Because the side content, like in Pokemon, the Pokemon contest, they help breathe life into the region that you're in, and it just helps with the atmosphere and makes you feel like there's more to Pokemon than just battling.
Yeah, I really like, because I was about to go in the same direction. Some of my favorite games are ones that do side quests really well. Hell, Majora's Mask, which is I'm hyped about because the 3DS version coming out, but Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games of all time, and that game is like 80% side quests that you don't really have to do, but you should to experience the
Yeah.
game. I really like side stuff. Human Revolution is a game that, or Deus Ex Human Revolution rather, is a game that I really love too, and I think it has some really good usage of side quest stuff because.
Side quests are. Oh, you go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like there are side quests and they give you like moral options and stuff, but not only that, like they teach you a bit more about the world. Like early on in Deus Ex Human Revolution, because that's a game about like people that get cyborg parts of their bodies and human augmentation, as they call it in game. And part of that process is like they'll rip off your arm and give you a cyborg arm or whatever. But with that, you need to like take these drugs that are apparently very highly addictive so that the parts will like better cope with the body and just you don't start suffering from pains and whatnot to like wherever it connects. So there's a point in the game where you find that there's a guy that's stealing these drugs from the company that produces them, but then you learn that he's doing it for more benevolent reasons, like for example, he's giving it to people that are going through withdrawals and stuff, and he's selling it cheaper than other places for people that don't have the ability to pay for them regularly and all that. So you have like this moral choice of what do I do because this guy's kind of doing a good thing, but at the same time he's stealing from a company. And not only that, but also there's a bunch of world building and it lets you better know the world that you're in and all that kind of stuff too. So I really appreciate well-written side quests like that because I think they can really build upon a game's world and give you a
Yeah.
unique little adventure in your game experience.
The Rune Factory games are like built upon side quests. They really help expand the world and make you care about the characters that you're interacting with because whenever you interact with characters in Rune Factory games, you usually get the static greeting and maybe like some snappy one-liner that they say or some quirk about their personality, and that's really much it. But if you do the side quests, you get to learn more about them. You get to learn about what they struggle with in life. You get to learn about how they came to the town, or how they married their spouse, or how they did all this other stuff. And it's very important for a game like that, where at a certain point, it's pretty much create your own adventure
Yeah.
because it's pretty open ended. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do any of the story in Rune Factory 4. You can get married and have a child right away if you want to. But the side quests are very important in order to make you feel for the characters and know about the world. And like, there's this one side quest where a character, they have a split personality, and their split personality was about to take over their actual personality. And if you didn't help them in time, their other personality would have taken over, and that character would have been gone in a sense. So it really does help expand upon characters, the world, the story. So yes, side quests are very important.
Okay, that basically covers it. He just asked like, what are some favorite side activities in RPGs and or just games in general, and we kind
Triple
of
Triad, Chocobo Racing, and Blitzball. Okay.
we kind of covered that. Um, oh
Oh
wow,
yeah,
we
Blitzball. I freaking love Blitzball. That's like the best side thing ever.
I actually that was one of my least favorite parts of FF10, but
Are you
yeah,
serious? You
I
didn't like Blitzball?
no because I played it through with a friend and me and him were just like, oh, fuck Blitzball because like we
I
did it
love
we did
Blitzball.
it for Wakka's weapon, but like we fucking hated it the entire
Oh,
time.
oh, you did it for Wakka's weapon. Everybody starts to hate Blitzball if you do it for Wakka's weapon.
Yeah, that's the only reason me and him did it when we played through it.
If you just play the tournament, oh man, Blitzball's amazing.
So I was just gonna go one more, but we actually just got an email literally 2 minutes ago. So I'm going to answer this one, I guess. So this is from Justin, and he asks, "Are you up for Don?" Well, he has three questions, but he says, "Are you up for Dante slash Dante or other cameos appearing in SMT slash spin-off games that are more important to the story in a major way?" So like, I guess just crossover characters being
Crossover
relevant to the
characters being
story.
relevant. You mean like, yeah, I'm fine with that. As long as they're written well and not just there for pure fan service. I mean, Dante was written pretty well in Nocturne.
Yeah, like his thing was like Lucifer hired me, and he's like, "Let's go kill demons now." And yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't really relevant to the main
He
story,
wasn't
but
relevant, but he was written in there well, and it didn't seem fan fictiony with Dante in there,
yeah.
which is what I'm trying to say.
So that's the thing. It's like if they can pull it off, I
With
don't mind, but I think it might be weird at first.
Yeah, they have to pull it off in a way that it doesn't seem like a bad fan fiction.
Like
That's the bottom line.
I say I don't mind it, but if I had to have two options, I would say don't even risk it. And if you have to
Yeah.
have crossover cameos, like write them in and just have like an excuse thingy and don't make them important to the main plot. But if they did try it and it worked out, I wouldn't mind. Um, it's just that I think that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of room for failure there.
Heck, even with their original characters do not steal. They end up being fan fictiony.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, show, cough, cough,
Um, so the
cough,
second,
cough. The entire plot of Ultimax. Wheeze, wheeze.
so also speaking of that, now that said, like inter-series crossovers, I'm totally fine with being main story points. Like I would,
Yeah.
well, I guess in some examples, like as dumb and biased as this seems, I kind of hope that the P3, P4 casts don't have a major role to play in Persona 5, just because I feel like that'd be kind of cheesy. But
Yeah,
like, I would totally love seeing the Demi Fiend or like Aleph or someone pop up in SMT5 and be a major character. I
that'd be
mean,
awesome.
depending on if you believe the theory or not, Aleph is a major character in Nocturne, so
I believe the theory because I mean
that's
Hijiri even has like a left hair,
kind of it's
sort of, kind of.
yeah, I believe the theory too. I think 'cause, well, the wording is so strict on
It's
that.
so specific, even in the Japanese
Yeah,
version. It's like a near direct translation.
yeah, I have a feeling Hijiri and Aleph are the same like soul. So
But that's for another video.
yeah, yeah. But I guess going on from there, second question: should SMT be more popular in the West? You're asking someone who created a beginner's guide so that people that wanted to get into it from a
Yes.
Western perspective could do it easier. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say I definitely want it to be more popular in the West because I think SMT is fucking amazing, and in my opinion, it is. I am very heavily biased, keep in mind, but I think in terms of the entire JRPG like industry as it is in the
The
modern day,
industry, like,
I think SMT is currently the peak.
yeah.
Like in terms of quality, and like that is very subjective. But yeah, I think it deserves a lot more
There's
recognition.
some series that can reach the peak quality, but they're too busy. They're too busy pandering to their fans and not taking enough risks. If that makes sense.
Tails.
Yeah, Tails, and they don't want to take any risks. Not that not that pandering to your fan base is a bad thing. Definitely not. I'm not trying to knock them for that, but Tails series is not going to take any risks anytime soon. They just they do not want to leave their comfort zone. It's always going to be some medieval western styled adventure slaying with all yeah. It's always going to be that. They're never going to go steampunk the way I want them to because I think they could pull it off really well. Tales of Exilia gave me hope that one day we'd see a full-on steampunk Tales. It's never going to happen. We're, we're never going to get that game.
But yeah, I mean SMT has been getting more recognition in the West. Like I mean hell, SMT1 came out West. Like
Yeah.
who would have thought?
Who'd have thunk?
It's definitely bigger than it was like a couple of years ago. Like it's when you talk about Shin Megami Tensei now, people know what you mean instead of what the fuck is that? Let me Google it. So yeah, I think it's getting there, but yeah, I'd love it to be up there in terms of like just game stuff. Like if SMT became a household name, which it probably never will, but like
Unless it has that one game.
if it has a
Just
Final Fantasy VII.
yeah, if it has a Final Fantasy VII.
Where even like people that just vaguely know about games kind of know what it is type thing. Like,
Yeah.
'cause, like with like some games like Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy
Yeah, people
VII.
know what. Yeah, people know what they are.
Like vaguely, some people will know what those are, even though they don't really care for video games type of thing. Like if SMT had one of those, that'd be cool. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. But that'd be
Yeah.
nice. Um,
I think it's not going to happen just due to the subject matter regarding SMT.
yeah, that's
We're
the other thing.
the Western world,
Especially with the Western fan.
the Western world in general is like in a really sensitive position where people get offended a little too easy.
With the religious stuff, yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely. Um, I guess
So,
going to the third question here. Is it okay if there's DLC that involves fighting other SMT protagonists? And I'm gonna say
yeah,
hell
that'd be
yeah.
awesome.
That would actually be really cool.
That'd be freaking hype.
I would enjoy that a
As
lot.
long as the fights are difficult, that'd be all right. Difficult, but not RNG based.
Like
No Satans from Devil's Digital Devil.
DDS2. Yeah,
Yeah,
I still haven't fucking beaten that boss. Like I pick at it like every once in a while. Like I try it probably once a month and I lose horribly. I'm like fucking luck based bullshit and get all crumpy and then cry. Um, no, but yeah, I'd say definitely like fucking the Demi-Fiend fight from Digital Devil Saga is one of like the highlights of just playing Mega 10 for me in general because it was so fucking awesome. My dream is that eventually there is a re-release of Nocturne where you fight the Embryon.
oh my god, that'd be
Because
amazing.
that would like the fight from the other perspective. That would be so cool. But yeah, even fucking Raido and Soul Hackers. That was hype. I haven't
He's
done that.
voiced by Nolan North in Soul Hackers. That's insane. They actually got Nolan North to voice Raido.
Like, yeah, I enjoy the protagonist stuff, and also you fight the Devil Summoner 1 protagonist in Soul Hackers too. So,
Yes.
like, I always enjoy that. That's always fun.
It'd
So
be cool in Persona 5 is like if you got like DLC battles against the past protagonists. And like and like the battle themes would be from each game, maybe not remixed, but like the original themes. You have like unavoidable battle play when you face Minato, and like I'll face myself when it's Narukami, and like that'd be cool. I like that. And they just use their best persona. Like, yeah, that'd be hype.
yeah, and then yeah, and then he just says, I just found this podcast a few weeks ago and he likes it, and he says he plans to talk again when he wins Evo.
When he wins Evo.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
We'll probably never hear from him again. Heyo.
oh shit. Yeah, I think that about covers it. There's another email I had somewhere that I wanted to read, but I lost it, and I think we've gone on long enough. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's it. So we'll see you again. By the time we come out, Break Record will probably be out in Japan, and who knows, maybe we'll have something to talk about that. Who knows?
Also, the concert will probably already happen.
Yeah, depending on when we decide to record next, we might have P5 news even. So
Yeah.
all right.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, that'll be a nice change of pace, and we'll still not have any SMT Cross Fire Emblem news. So, bye everyone. Have a good one. See you later.
Bye.
Gather demons and come again.